All right, welcome to Before Floor, an extension of Five on the Floor, the Five Reasons Sports Network. I'm Ethan Skolnick from Five Reasons Sports. This is the one shirt you can't get on our site, but you can get a bunch of others. Let's get right to it. Heat Raptors in Tampa. I never thought I would say that. We've got our producer, Alejandro Villegas, Ricky J. Mark in the middle. Brady Hawk just posted another new story to the site with some pregame notes, and Jonathan Ramlakan. We will take you up for the next few minutes. Post-game show tonight. Some of these same characters will be back. I think Royal has the night off. I'll be on a pod with Alex and Greg. This episode, as all others, is brought to you by Biscayne Bay Brewing. Alejandro and I both get our beer from them, but they're also the official beer of the Five Reasons Sports Network and of the Miami Marlins. Try the Biscayne Bay IPA, Marlins Lager, and all of the other great beers from Biscayne Bay. Make sure you ask for it at a restaurant or store. Likely in South Florida, they will find it for you. This is locally brewed beer. All right, let's get right to it. Heat are 5-7, split with the Pistons. Got destroyed in the second half of game one against the Pistons, and then in the first quarter, and then got things together. Let me just share some things before we start. I put some of this on Twitter. I did get a chance to talk to some Heat officials the past couple days. Let me give you a few things. There is no panic. I can tell you that. They're not making excuses, but they're sort of noting we haven't had our team. Jimmy Butler is ninth in the team in minutes. They felt like they were getting some sense of normalcy with the OKC game. I'm not saying that OKC is a great opponent, but they got to their starting lineup in rotation that they wanted to. They had that against Boston. They had that for one more game, and then it all fell apart again. So I don't think they're going to make a panic trade. That's kind of what I sensed. If there's the right opportunity, they'll go for it. They still think there's hope for guys like Nunn and Harkless to contribute. I think there was some frustration that Okpala was not available during those games that other players missed because they think he would have gotten a little bit more time. And that's kind of, the synopsis of it. I don't think that a panic move is coming. I think they want to see their team whole. Sometimes you never see a team whole. That's happened to them before. But I think they at least want to see Jimmy at the front of it. Let's go. Let's start with you, Brady, here. You did some pregame stuff. No time tonight. That's injury related, but also no Jimmy Butler. Again, that's, as we know, COVID related. No Avery Bradley. That's also COVID related. No Myers Leonard. That is injury related. What do you expect to see the starting lineup to be tonight, Brady?
Well, it seems like it should be, the same one that we saw last game. That's what you would think. But I wouldn't be surprised if he changes it up again and Goran comes off the bench again. I don't know why, but I have a feeling like Gabe Vincent starts because you're going against Kyle Lowry and Van Vliet. Not that Gabe Vincent's like this all-time defender, but I think you feel more comfortable with him on that end than you do with Goran. And I think you just want Goran off the bench. Again, not wanting to push him over and over these games just because the guys are out, even though you do need wins. So I think you see possibly Gabe Vincent start. And I think the big question is if KZ starts or if Mo Harkless starts. And I think this tells you how they feel about KZ. I think if they go to KZ tonight and start him, everything will be all right. But if they go to Mo Harkless after he got benched in the second half, I think you're going to know that he's not going to be impacting this team anytime soon this season. So I think this will tell you what the direction they're going with KZ. And it is kind of strange because you saw him in that first Detroit game and you're kind of wondering, of some things. But I think they do go with KZ. I think there's some things they could work. I've mentioned the defensive end. Watching KZ and Bam on the pick and rolls, defending pick and rolls is, pretty impressive. And I think that they want to throw him on one of the two guards on Toronto. So I do think that's the way to go.
Well, I do think one thing that's interesting with Harkless, Greg, and I know I think I heard you mention on the pod you did with Nikias last night about how maybe we didn't give enough attention to what happened to KZ in the previous game where we pretty much played 4 minutes, picked up a couple fouls, and that was the end of it. It does look like Harkless is more comfortable as a 3 than a 4, though, right? Yeah. So I could see a scenario where maybe Mo's the starting 3 tonight, with with Olynyk and Bam in the front court. I do think Goran's going to start. You got to win with Goran starting. I don't think they're going to yank him from the starting lineup. But what do you think? You think it's going to be KZ or you think it's going to be Harkless?
I think they run it back. I think KZ gets another opportunity. For whatever reason, he was pulled and didn't see the floor, and they stayed with Harkless. But Harkless appears to be a guy who defends down. I think, Ethan, you and I disagreed back in the offseason. I thought that Harkless was Jay Crowder replacement, and you argued that he was the Derrick Jones Jr. replacement. I think you maybe win this argument because he looks like he's way more capable of a defender of quicker players and maybe some of the smaller or longer wings versus playing and sizing up and defending fours and stuff like that. So, to your point, they would have to start him at the 3. I don't think the 4 is the spot for him. So I think Spo actually gives KZ another shot to redeem himself from the last game.
Ricky, let's go to you on this. We've talked about Heat teams in the past that what this team could be if they all get healthy. There have been some of those teams. The year after LeBron is kind of the one that I always point to. And I think that the Heat had sort of outlandish expectations for that season because they wanted to prove they didn't need LeBron so much. So they thought that, they could contend with Wade and Bosh, McRoberts and Cole and Deng pretty much as their starting lineup. And they never really saw Cole and McRoberts in it. And I think they played 37 minutes together the whole season and the whole thing busted out. There's been other seasons like the 2006-2007 season that never really saw the championship team defend its title because a lot of them didn't care and they weren't conditioning anymore. In your view, is it fool's gold? Because I did speak to Heat personnel this week. Is it fool's gold to simply say we're waiting for our team to get whole? I mean, this is a season where you may never see the team whole.
Well, I think at this point right now, this team as it's currently constructed might have is my mic on? Are we good?
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I think right now, with where this team is, even if this team were whole, given how much the other teams in the Eastern Conference have improved, I'm not entirely sure that we'll, sneak into the finals again this season. I think those days are over. We had a huge opportunity. We certainly capitalized on it, and we were ultimately beaten by a superior team with arguably the most superior player in the world. I think a trade will be important and it will be necessary at some point in the future in order to move ahead. But right now, I don't see that. I think this team might be close to as maxed out as possible, even once Jimmy comes back.
Let's go to you here, Jonathan. Kyle Lowry on the other side tonight. We've talked a lot about him on the podcast as a possible target. Last year of his deal, $30 million contract. I think you can argue that the two biggest issues that this team has are sort of a rebounding complement to Bam, perhaps, and then a ball handler to kind of settle them down. Although I know that Jimmy may relieve some of that. Does Kyle Lowry interest you in that capacity, and how much would you give up?
Yeah, I think he would definitely be somebody that you would be willing to look for because he solves a lot of issues on this team. Not only the turnover issue, but the point of attack defense. He'll be there to create for other players, and then he's a player that's clutch. He's shown that he can hit the big shots when it comes down to it. So I think he's a guy that you definitely want to look at and take a serious look at for the team if you want to contend for a championship this year and make sure that you can contend with the teams like Milwaukee and Brooklyn and have that a little bit of a higher floor. Because even though he's a little bit up there in age, he's shown to still have that value and still play really well, averaging most on his team at 19.1 a game. So he's a guy that you would want to look for. But as far as what you want to give up for him, unless you're sure that you're going to re-sign him, that's the biggest question. Because are you going to give up a player like a Duncan Robinson or a Tyler Hero or maybe a Precious, you know what I mean? That's somebody who's going to help you in the future, somebody who's cost control, and somebody who you can develop going forward with the Heat's development program, or are you going to re-sign Kyle Lowry and keep him for a couple more years to pair him with Jimmy going forward? So that's the biggest question as far as how we're going to, get him or how much we want to get him moving forward. But I think he should be somebody we should take a serious look at.
That text that came in there, that comment, we should comment on that. Because I know that you are a fan. I'm going to go back to Ricky real quick, and then we'll flip back to Greg. You're a fan of Lonzo Ball on this team. I know, they got out today that Lonzo's been made available. I think Greg and I talked about it. Like, Stan likes big defensive point guards. I thought it might work, but he's got Bledsoe there. Like, he's got guards who don't really shoot that well around Zion. It doesn't make and Ingram. It doesn't make a ton of sense.
Let me just quickly say, who also likes Lonzo Ball?
Pat Riley.
Yeah, there you go. Okay,
I know.
Continue.
No, I know, and that's why it's worth bringing up. You talk about a guy who could settle the offense, but statistically he has not been great, but he defends, he handles. Ricky, why do you like him so much for this team?
Okay, so a couple of reasons. One, like Greg mentioned, he's a big guard that can handle the ball and get your offense going. And throughout Heat history, you've always seen big players handle the ball, whether it's Lamar Odom, Anthony Mason, LeBron James, you name it. The thing with Lonzo Ball is he is the closest thing to a pure point guard that this roster will have seen since maybe even LeBron James. And for someone like him to come into this offense and push the ball, like I think we may have talked about a little earlier, I can't remember for as long as I can remember. Eric Spoelstra is. I always see him waving the team ahead to get the ball moving, push the ball. Lonzo's the kind of player that exactly like that.
Yeah.
Lonzo's the kind of player who, if he sees someone leaking out on the break, he's firing a cross court, almost Kevin Love, Wes Unseld type pass down the floor to make sure someone gets the ball down there. And once you have a player on your team that plays that way, it's going to incentivize a lot more players to get out there on the break. We have the athletes on this team to make that happen. And I think if you have Lonzo Ball there, it'll make, for example, Jimmy's job a lot easier. He won't have to expend himself getting everybody involved. He'll be able to focus on other things, maybe even focus more on defense, as good a defender as he is. It'll make Tyler Hero's job a lot easier. He'll be able to focus more on scoring and rebounding and so on and so forth. Ultimately, Lonzo Ball is the closest thing to a pure point guard that we will have seen. And if Miami's able to get him, in my opinion, I think the sky can be the limit for this roster.
Well, this comment comes in here. Lonzo is perfect next to Bam, Jimmy, and Hero. There's a name missing in there. Greg, let me ask you, Stan's going to want a shooter. Griff's going to want a shooter. That's part of the point. If they came to you and said, if you guys aren't planning on re-signing Duncan for $20 million a year, we'll take him off your hands and we'll put a package together, with that ball goes one way and Duncan goes the other. Would you consider that? I lost him again.
I don't think it. Now I think you guys can hear me. I don't think I would consider the trade that Ethan proposed because what I was just trying to sneak in and say is that the Heat have enough cap space currently projected for 2021 where they could sign Lonzo Ball outright and they don't have to give up anybody to get Lonzo Ball. They can just wait until the offseason and they can sign him outright. They have just about enough cap space to make a Lonzo Ball sized offer. They don't have a full max. So that's the thing that we've harped on, but they have Lonzo Ball money. So if you think he's the right piece, I wouldn't sacrifice a Duncan Robinson because you can just sign him outright in the summer.
Okay. But to that end, you may not have a here's part of the problem. And this is, I had Adam Barai on, our guy Clutch. You just watched the Clutch Corner from last night with Royal and Alana. And Adam's making this point, and I understand this to a degree. If you keep saying you're going to wait on every guy, a lot of these guys are going to get scooped up by other teams. It's kind of the conversation that we've had about Oladipo. It's do you really want Oladipo? No, you're waiting on Beal. But in the meantime, maybe Vic goes somewhere else, and then your quote-unquote fallback option is not there. If Ball's on the trade block, he may go to a team that wants to extend him, and he's off the market. I know you can't have every.
I'd rather just go all in for Beal than sacrifice Duncan individually to get Lonzo Ball. You know what I mean? I'd rather just consolidate all the assets at that point and go for the really big fish.
Okay, that's fair.
And on that list of teams, I don't know how accurate that report was, but one of the teams on there was Toronto, which makes you think that if they have Van Vliet and Lowry, what would make them want to look at, Lonzo Ball? But then that ties back to the Kyle Lowry situation, right? Because if they're looking at Lonzo Ball, that maybe means that they're looking for a trade for Kyle Lowry.
And maybe they're looking for some size in their backcourt because that's what they don't have right now. And that becomes one of the questions here. Although that was a Scoop B report, and he tends to throw some teams against the wall, we've seen that before. So I don't know 100% on that one. All right, let's finish this up with tonight. Toronto, Miami. Toronto is 5-8. The Heat are 5-7. Of the 7 teams in the East that we thought would be pretty good, these are the 2 that are struggling. Is there any case that anybody will make that Toronto will have a better record than Miami at the end of this year? Because they did last year, right? They did finish with a better record than the Heat last year. Will anybody make that case? I know Greg's not going to make it. Will anybody else make the case that Toronto would have a better record than Miami at the end of the year?
If contact tracing keeps coming up, we don't know what's
Good answer.
John?
I mean,
Ricky?
just to put it on their side, not that I think this is something that's going to happen. They have a pretty deep team. You know what I mean? They have what, 6 guys that score in double figures, and Chris Boucher is an emerging, really good player in their front court. That can play really well. He can shoot the three. He's shooting 46% from deep right now on 3 attempts a game. So that's pretty good, for a big guy who's developing. And they can have even with contact tracing and everything's going on, they have a lot of guys that can create. They have Kyle Lowry, they have Fred VanVleet, they have Pascal Siakam. So they're not in a position like Miami where if we lose Jimmy and Tyler, now we're a little bit more lenient. We have to only rely on Bam. We don't have a true point guard or somebody who can facilitate. So I think they're a team that has enough defense, that has enough length and enough youth as well that can compete with us. And I think they will finish pretty close to us. But I'm not going to say that they're going to finish better than us this year.
All right, final thing here, and then you guys can stick around with Alejandro during the game. Some of these guys will be back post-game. Greg and I will be on the post-game pod. I posted some stats tonight or this morning on 5 Reasons Sports about Bam, and honestly, I was kind of stunned about some of this. So let me just throw this out there. Last year, he took only 20% of his shots from 10 feet or out. He's taking 46% of his shots from 10 feet or out. So the mid-range thing has already happened. Additionally, he's shooting a full 10% higher from mid-range than he did last year, but he's also shooting 90% from the rim, from 3 feet and in. Last year, it was 73%. So I will just ask this question. We keep talking about the mid-range. Clearly, he's gotten better. He's even better at the rim, though. And Brady, you had this conversation. You just did a breakdown of him. Are we focusing too much on the mid-range? Because I mean, people used to bitch at Rasheed Wallace that he wouldn't get his, and Chris Bosh, so they wouldn't get near the basket. Are we pushing Bam in a direction we really don't want him to go? Any thoughts?
No, we're not. We're not.
Yeah, because he has to develop that 3. We're just pushing him out until he can start taking that 3.
You got
Once
it.
he starts taking that 3,
if he can make that kind of improvement, if he can accelerate the way that you just described from the mid-range year over year, who's to say that that's not going to be able to extend even further out? So, I think that that's ultimately what they're trying to get to.
But I'm with you. But Ricky, hasn't there? I mean, there is a trend of big guys, particularly in recent years, who have other skill sets. They start falling in love with a jumper, and we start complaining that they're falling in love with a jumper. I mean, Blake Griffin is an extreme example right now because it appears he can't even walk, let alone run, according to Eric Reed.
I think that's location, but yeah.
Which is one of the weirdest things I've seen from Eric. That was different, man. I've never seen Eric do that before. But Blake is only taking threes. We've seen this with bigs. I mean, it happens with bigs all the time. It happened. Brooke Lopez is an example of a guy but it seems to have worked for his career. Is there any danger of Bam doing what other bigs have done and just not being aggressive near the rim, not going to the basket?
No, I don't think so. I think Bam's the kind of player who enjoys dunking on people's heads. Not only that, but it's also a different era, right? So we were getting on Rasheed Wallace, who was about 7 feet tall, in an era where if you weren't a Shaq type or a Rick Smits type, you were considered soft. Nowadays, you're considered a max player. It's a shame that we lost Chris Bosh all those years ago, because right now he would have been flourishing. But for someone like Bam, if he's able to develop that consistent 3-pointer, let's say if he hits like 2 a game, that will allow him to take advantage of his ability to break down people off the dribble and attack the basket and cause the offense to become even more dynamic, kind of like what we were talking about a few weeks ago with Duncan Robinson learning to attack the basket and lay the ball in for a change. I think it can only benefit his game if he becomes a threat from all parts of the floor. Now, the thing with him is it's if he wants to score. He has the agility, the skill, the athleticism to score from anywhere and to get past. I mean, he's nimble enough to get past the big, slow guys, and he's strong enough to overpower the smaller guys. So, I mean, it's up to him. It really is.
And all right, let's close here. Rapid fire. W or L? I know what Greg would have said, so we'll just chalk that one out. W or L, John?
You're taking a W.
Brady?
Yeah, win.
Ricky?
Yeah, one of these 2 games will be a win. If not tonight, tomorrow night.
That's what I think. I think they get 1 or 2. Alejandro?
Miami Heat wins tonight.
You always say that. You're as predictable as Greg. We just don't give you bleat for it. All right. Some of these guys will be back post-game. I'll be on the post-game pod with Greg. I think we got a Floor's Yours coming up tomorrow night, too. So we will be doing that tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Make sure you subscribe Tell your friends. We made some additions as well. Alana Tauscher, now part of the group. She was on Clutch Corner last night, and follow her. I can't pronounce that. Jules, okay, you can follow her on Twitter as well. She's joining us as well. So we're gonna mix things up. We got too many dudes in the network. Anyway, stick around with Alejandro. We will be, like I said, post-game stream, post-game pod. I don't want you to lose. It's better for us when they win. Trust me.
Stay away from my ginger ale. That's all I'm saying.
All right, thank you guys for staying with us here in the Miami Heat Toronto Raptors pregame show. We're gonna read some of your guys' comments before we go here, and please send us what you guys think that's gonna happen tonight. If the Miami Heat is gonna win, or if you guys think they're gonna lose tonight against the Toronto Raptors. So we have this is already canceled. Hello, trade everybody, but Jimmy Butler, Bam, Hero, and Duncan. Yes, but I mean, other teams are probably going to ask for one of those guys. So we'll see if that's a real possibility. Hopefully for the Miami Heat, some trades open up. We're winning. Miami is winning by 6. Thank you, Gaming with Harold. We are winning. Michael Dujon. Thank you, Michael. We will definitely be tough without Jimmy tonight. So Snappers thinks we are not winning tonight. We have Ricky back here to read some of the comments and maybe give you.
I got some time. Why not?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the game starts in 9 minutes, so we have 9 minutes.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Geez.
Let me see. No. I'm kidding. The game's at 7:30. I'm sorry. I'm used to 7 p.m. the game starts. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, that happens a lot. It's all good.
We could have had Dwight Howard, Javan McGee, and DeMarcus Cousins all together. Oh my God, you want to see all that together? Okay. For the price of one, Myers Leonard. So, okay, this is interesting. Would you rather have those three at the same time? I don't know what for, instead of Myers Leonard in the bench yelling like a cheerleader? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why those three players, who each of them want to play with Bam and Kelly already on the team, why they would want to come to a team that would cause the rotation to be so clogged that no one would get minutes anyways. I don't think we could have reasonably gotten all of them, and I believe our roster is already full as it is, so we could probably have only gotten maybe one of them. And it depends. It's a matter of fit. I know.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But thank you for your comment, Steven. Keep it coming. All right, quality show. Thank you, Christopher. Tahis Thomason is saying Alejandro time. Yes, you got it. Right after the pregame show, it's my time to shine. So I get it.
Yeah, there it is. There it is.
And here we go. So thank you for your comment, Tahi. I hope I'm pronouncing your name well. Trade the kids for Bill. Everybody here is saying, okay, trade everybody for Bill. They're not going to want all the kids and just get kids because of just getting kids. They need somebody else coming their way too.
You know what's funny about that? You see, you have a team like, I think what a lot of people like this idea is because they saw a team like Brooklyn who basically traded, a lot of their depth, like some really good players, for James Harden. Thing is, they already had Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Just those two players, they were probably getting to at least the semifinals and then the conference finals, right? Never mind a championship. That, of course, is still possible. The thing is, our two best players are not Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. They are Bam Adebayo, and I know this is going to be blasphemy to Heat Nation and everything. They're Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler. Playoff Jimmy is something else. But
are they? I mean, so far away from Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, especially Irving. I get it. Kevin Durant's probably one of the top 10 players right now, maybe top 5 if you ask me right now. But Kyrie Irving, he's somewhere else mentally. He's somewhere else.
Yeah, that's true. Look, I'll tell you this. I wouldn't take him on my team, and it's nothing personal. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. I wouldn't take him on my team if he signed as a free agent, if he came for free, because his history with, how he left the Cavs, his leadership failures in Boston, and some of the stuff that's been happening in Brooklyn, you can't rely on him for a full season. I mean, the first year LeBron got to the finals with Cleveland, he got hurt. Now, here's the thing. some people are more injury prone than others, and of course, it's not their fault, but he's not the player I would take, unfortunately. Thing is, Kevin Durant is already an all-time small forward. Jimmy Butler is not. Bam Adebayo is not. You're talking about 2 all-time potential players, and then you're adding another potentially all-time shooting guard. It's like a video game. We're in a different position, Miami, and I think it'd be nice to get Beal, but would that be enough to get out of the Eastern Conference, considering how much better some of the other teams have gotten? I'm not sure. I like Beal. I preferred him over James Harden, but I think it depends on what Miami would have to give up. Unless Bam wants to become a 24, 14, and 6 guy overnight, then maybe. But until then, no. I don't know if that puts us over the top right now.
All right, we keep going with our comments here. Steven says Miami wins. Our friend Tommy Italian 305 for life is saying, I don't know how we can win without Hero and Butler. Well, they have to figure out a way.
We're the Miami Heat.
They have to figure out a way because they don't have Hero again tonight. He's going to be out. Leonard is also out, and Bradley and Butler still out because of the COVID protocols. So they have to figure it out. Michael Dujon is saying, do we have a chance to trade for Lowry? Yes, we can trade for anybody. Just what the other team's going to ask for, right?
Exactly.
So it's a possibility.
Exactly. It depends on what they want in return.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, Oladipo. Well, you see, the thing with Oladipo, he might really want to be in Miami, but does Houston want to give him up just like that? I don't want to kill the vibe or kill the buzz for a lot of our fans making trade requests, but there's 2K trading, and then there's reality trading. I mean, you have to put yourself in Houston's shoes. If you're Houston, who on Miami's roster right now would you want and be willing to give up Victor Oladipo for? There aren't too many. I mean, I would love to see Oladipo on this team. I agree with you. I think he would love it in Miami, but I'm not sure. I think we might have a better chance signing him in free agency, but as Ethan mentioned during our pregame, or I think it might have been Greg, it could be, he might end up going somewhere else, but I don't know. Or who knows? Houston might just like him enough to want to keep him because he is a pretty talented shooting guard, one of the best in the league.
Yeah, they might try just to build around him right now, and then why not give it a shot? Okay, Snapos is asking about Hero. Yes, he's out still because of his neck spasm, so he's not going to be playing tonight. Adam Borai is saying, this is the best time in the stream, giving Alejandro the spotlight. Thank you, Adam. Thank you. Oh, by the way, I have to say hi to my friend Jonathan and also Michael that I saw yesterday in the liquor store. They know who they are, so bye-bye. Hi. Thank you. He saw me with my Jimmy Canasta shirt, and he's like, oh, you're from 5 Reasons. I'm like, yes, we are. So thank you for all the comments. Gaming with Errol, Ricky, and Alejandro, you think Mo, Bam, and is Avery and Jimmy lineup will be good? So Mo, Bam, Avery, and Jimmy, I guess. Once they can be all together, once Jimmy and Avery are back. So would that be your starting lineup? I guess it's the question.
Well, my question for that lineup would be who's hitting 3-pointers because Bam's not shooting those. Well, Jimmy is inconsistent. Avery, he's a great defender, but Mo Harkless, I'm not so sure. I think you're going to want to have. I think you're going to want to have a. Yeah, I think you're going to want to have a more balanced starting lineup. That's one of the reasons why Duncan's been starting so many of these games because it's a lot easier to get going as a team when Duncan goes off from 3. He hits a couple of those, you're already up 12, just like that. Boom. And it's a great way to get guys going. Very good, maybe defensively, sure, but as a starting lineup, no, I don't see that.
Yeah, probably in a couple of minutes when you need a lot of defense, you can throw out that lineup. So is Hero out? Yes, Hero's still out. He's not going to be playing tonight. Michael is saying, be honest. What's our chance to get Bill? So my first question is, why are you not being honest, Ricky? That's my first question to you.
Oh yeah. Why am I not? Well, you know what? Yeah. That's a good question. What is our chance to get Beal? Okay. I don't want to get your hopes up, so I'm going to say slim to none. because I don't want you to think that we've got him in the bag and then the season ends and Beal is still in Washington or in LA or something. I don't want to get your hopes up. The thing with these Heat trades is that, the Miami Heat organization is a very guarded organization. They typically keep things very close to the vest. And as a result, you usually don't hear about trades until like as they're happening. Like maybe Woj might break something, or like the only time I remember hearing about a potential Heat trade a while before it happened was when Shaq and Pat Riley almost got into a fight in the 2007-2008 season. That was when we started hearing rumblings about him being traded to Phoenix for Sean Marion, and lo and behold, that happened. That was the only time. But other than that, you're not going to hear rumors, like legit rumors about, oh yeah, they're going to get this guy. No, because I remember for years we kept hearing about how Michael Petrus was trying to come down to Miami for years, and yet he never came. Or Derek Fisher or Michael Finley, and they never showed up. So, be careful with the rumors that you hear about, the Heat making trades. Right. If anything comes out, well, 5 Reasons Sports Network. Stay subscribed. Remember to subscribe. All right.
Yes, subscribe, turn your notifications on, and give it a thumbs up, give it a like, and share it with your friends, your Miami Heat friends, so they can all enjoy our content here. So Colin Christopher saying, I can't trade Tyler or Duncan ever. So, well, maybe if you bring a superstar, you have to give up Duncan. That's how it is. That's how it works. Trades are supposed to be made that way. You get something, you give something. So, all right.
Hold on, wait. Before we go ahead, so this he said, who was that said that we can't trade? He can't trade Tyler and Duncan ever. Colin. Yeah. So let me get this straight. If Milwaukee, for some reason, something crazy happens, and Milwaukee says, you know what, I'm sick of Giannis Antetokounmpo. We're not going to be paying him the supermax. We don't want to pay him anymore. We'll give you Giannis Antetokounmpo right now if you trade us Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, and to make the salaries match Myers Leonard and a first-round pick. You wouldn't do that deal? I think Pat Riley says yes before the words are finished getting out of the Milwaukee GM's mouth. We can make shooters. We produce shooters like very easily. I think we'll survive that deal.
Yeah, and these are both players that came up in the system. So I know they're stars right now, or for us here in Miami, they're somewhere close to being stars. Mm-hmm. So I know the feeling, but still, like you said, if the superstar
just imagine if Miami refused to trade Lamar Odom and Caron Butler, or even Brian Grant, who was the warrior before UD, right? Like, it's safe to say that Lamar Odom and Caron Butler, and in their primes, they were better players than Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson, and yet this team still traded them for Shaq, who was a little bit past his prime. Miami ended up getting a championship out of it. They created this championship culture that caught LeBron James's attention, and many of our fans right now started liking the Heat between 2010 and 2014. And you remember how fun those times were. Okay. It is, if that is what you have to do, sometimes you got to give up, guys. Like, just look at it like this. Just a few years back, we loved our young guys so much. Nobody wanted to trade Josh Richardson, who was no longer on the team anymore.
Do you know who? Thing.
Yeah, same thing. And do you know who is now here because of Josh Richardson? Jimmy Butler. We got to the finals last year because of Jimmy Butler and a lot of these other young guys. It's going to be tough, but trust me, when they're holding up the trophy at the end of the season, believe me, you're not going to be missing these guys. I promise, because they're not going to be thinking about you.
We'll see. We'll see what happens there. So Steven says, don't really want all three, just saying we only need one of them. Rob in Hollywood says, Afro Man, it's on point. Good job, guys. Thank you. Michael is saying Hero, Mo, and Lerner, and a first for Beal. Steven Toral, any of Howard Cousins, whatever. Let's keep bringing in more comments. Snappus, Bam's going to have another big night. Raptors don't really have any good defensive bigs. Beal and Tucker to Miami, Hero, Olenek, Precious to Wizard, none to Houston.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. So let me get this straight. Okay, so Houston is trading. It seems that he actually thought about this one.
Well, the thing is, Houston would be getting rid of two good players, I guess, and just getting none.
So the only guy that Houston gets back is, well, they're only giving up Tucker. I mean, where would none play? I mean, they've got a few guards on that team already. They have John Wall who's starting. They have Victor Oladipo and Eric Gordon. Where would none play? I'm not. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That'd be
Not
interesting,
ideal
but
for
I wouldn't give up that much.
Yeah, look at Adam. This is for Alejandro and Ricky, the stars of the show.
Oh, we got
Thank
$2.
you. So it's one for you, one for me, and there we go. We'll
Nice.
have fun with that. Thank you, Adam.
Yeah, I'll be sure to tell Ethan. Hey, Ethan, we made money.
Yeah, thank you very much, Adam. And you guys can keep shooting. This is our super chat right here for all of you that are looking at this and are like, what's going on with Adam? If you go down there in your live streaming, there's a thing that says super chat. You can go in there and you can send 1, 5, 10, 20, 100, 1,000, whatever you want to send if you want to help us keep producing this content. So thank you, Adam. We really appreciate it. Adrian says, who should be the starter at 4? Feel like we still lack a true answer. Yes, last game it was KZ Okpala. You run him out again, or you saw enough after those 2 quick fouls and he just didn't play anymore?
So the thing with KZ Okpala is that he's still pretty raw. He's a young player. He doesn't have that many NBA games on his resume. Like, he played, I think, 11 minutes total last season, something along those lines. He's going to make mistakes. He is essentially a rookie. He spent most of last season, if he wasn't injured, he spent most of last season in the G League with Sioux Falls, right? Only being called up a few times. He had a great showing in the preseason. I loved seeing him, and I'm kind of, I'm high on him. I want him to succeed. I want him to do well. The thing is, he made some defensive mistakes in the last game. That's the kind of thing where if you're not experienced enough, and it's to be expected. I think he's going to be all right, because you can tell by the way he plays, his mannerisms, that he's going to care. I mean, he's going to become a pretty good defender once he understands the rotations and who he has to key in on. Because someone like, I'll just put it like this: if Duncan Robinson is yelling at you because of your defensive lapses, then that means you're either a bad defender or you're raw. He's not a bad defender. He's just a little raw. So give him some time. He'll be all right. In the meantime, however, if Mo Harkless gives them at least good defense without fouling out in 5 minutes, then I think that's where Spo's going to go. But until then, KZ will have his moment. He will have his moment. Just maybe not now. Just maybe not now.
Maybe not now. And he's not starting. We have the starting lineup already. It's Bam Adebayo, Gabe Vincent, Goran Dragic, Duncan Robinson, and Kelly Olynyk. So again, Bam Adebayo, Gabe Vincent, Goran Dragic, Duncan Robinson, and Kelly Olynyk is the starting 5 tonight for the Miami Heat against the Toronto Raptors. So let's keep reading some of you guys' messages before we go. We have around 20 minutes for the game to start, even though we know in the NBA it doesn't start at the time they say they start. So we have a little bit of time. So Clutch, Alejandro, Ricky, the GOATs, thank you guys for all your comments. Is Bradley playing? No, Bradley's out, and Jimmy Butler's also out because of the COVID health and protocols. So they're not going to be playing tonight. Do you guys trust Pat Riley? Houston, you have a problem. How serious long do neck spasms last for? It could be a week, it could be a month. It depends on how bad it is, like in the muscular part of it.
Depends on the person. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll bring in a specialist if this thing drags out more than a week, and that should be time for us to really worry, like what's going on with Tyler Hero. Would be nice to get Oladipo and PJ Tucker. We could later use Oladipo in the package to get Beal. Look at this, guys. You guys are creative. I appreciate all your ideas. Beal and Tucker. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Okay, let me see what else. Leave it on with the Beal crap. Just joined Sebastian Arias, my friend Sebastian Arias. Jim is not playing. He's out because of the COVID protocols, the same as Avery Bradley. They're not going to be playing tonight. Hero's out. Leonard is out as well. No Jimmy. Sebastian, we tethered Jimmy to Washington. Yeah, here
Yeah. It was
all over the
shocking.
place.
I mean, we've been on since 5 p.m. just talking about the huge blockbuster Jimmy Butler to Washington trade, and you wouldn't believe who we got back: Rui Hachimura and a 2027 second round pick. I think we did very well.
Yeah, there we
I
go.
think we did very well.
Jimmy, Bradley, Lerner won't play. There you go. Here on Dragic day to day. Well, Dragic is in the starting lineup and he will be playing. All I know is we better get the W. That's our friend David Smith. So thank you guys for sending all your messages. I know you guys are very excited for this game. You should be. These are two teams that were very good last year that did not have a very good beginning of the season in this 2020-2021 season, but they're kind of getting there. I mean, especially the Raptors they've been winning lately a little bit more. The Miami Heat's been struggling a lot, and they're coming from a tough win against the Detroit Pistons. But thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Ricky, again for being here with me.
All right, man.
More fun when you're here. That really helps me to get going here in the post-game show. Let's read. We have 5 more here, and then we're done. Did Leonard hurt his shoulder from clapping too hard? Maybe the towel thing. You know, if you're rolling too hard, if you're swinging that towel, if you're not used to that move, that motion. I know he's very good. He was very good last year or last season in the playoffs. No, I mean he got hurt playing. I mean, you know the Miami Heat culture. You know these guys. These guys, if they're hurt, they're not going to play. But if they can't play, they will. So there you go. Sebastian Arias is laughing at my joke. Good. Sebastian, abrazo para ti if you speak Spanish. No birthday game for Hero tonight. No, he's going to go enjoy his birthday. He's like, Eric, this is...
Enjoy his birthday in a pandemic? Okay. All right. Then he'll be out for like half the season then. Oh, jeez.
No, I mean, he can enjoy
his
birthday in his own room. He doesn't have to go out. You can enjoy it in different ways. So, Coach, just let me enjoy my 21st birthday, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. When will return? When will Hero return? Well, Gustavo, we don't know yet. Hopefully for the next game against the Raptors. We can get Bradley. We went over this already. I seriously think Mayor's overreacted. I don't know. We don't know. Is there a way to sign Max free agent while keeping Duncan? Yes, there is.
Okay, yeah. So here's the interesting thing. It's gonna take a lot of some serious like capology. So basically what happens is I believe there are a certain amount of cap holds that go into an off season. The thing with that is okay. So if I understand this correctly, and I'm sure Ahmad Named, I think that's his name on Twitter, he's been fantastic with this stuff. If we have cap space just like off rip, right? We could potentially sign him. We could potentially sign into that cap space and then use Duncan's bird rights to then, once we're over the cap, to just re-sign him. We could, if I understand correctly, we can actually re-sign a guy over the cap so long as we don't hit like some hard cap that is mentioned. Now, of course, that's a collective bargaining stuff. I need to read the CBA a little bit better, but there will be a lot of exceptions made this season, especially with COVID and all the stuff that's happening.
Yeah, but the short answer to that is yes, it is possible, and the Miami Heat is very good at doing this type of math.
Yes,
so don't worry, but it is possible. So you can have both of them, a max player and Duncan Robinson. And especially if you sign him to a long contract and you just pay him little money in the beginning of the contract, and then he kind of goes up with the years, it can be done as well. So we're going to say bye with the starting lineup. Again, for all of you that are just getting here, it's Bam Adebayo, Gabe Vincent, Goran Dragic, Duncan Robinson, and Kelly Olynyk. This is not my design. This is designed by the Miami Heat people. This is a little bit better. The different colors, they're wearing this tonight. So it's Bam Adebayo, Vincent, Dragic, Robinson, and Olynyk. Those were the 5 starters for the Miami Heat tonight against the Toronto Raptors. So we're going to be back for the post-game show as soon as the game is over. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Ricky. Have a good night. Enjoy the game. And we will see you soon here in the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. Have a good one. Bye-bye.